In this video, we are now in April of 2024, 4 years later with ERC. It's like it won't go away. But what I've realized is that there is several hundred thousands of applications for ERC, the $26,000 up to that amount, is still in the IRS pipeline of approval or denial. Also, we're starting to see more and more about the promoters. We're starting to see more and more about, I get questions now, or how are they doing it? And I would say over the last few months, whether it's been in a classroom, talking to other professionals, or actually having people call me and say, hey, would you do a second look at this? I'm now even getting to see some of the audits to see how the IRS is adjusting it. But today, I want to really focus on one thing, and that is, what's all the hoopla about the ERC fraud? And when I went to put this together, I thought about it, because I want to speak to that small business person that says, did I really qualify for it? Did the promoter take advantage of me? And real quick, I'm going to go back to that. I've probably reviewed again over the last few months, 175, 200 applications. And in doing so, I've really isolated where the potential fraud is. So what I'd like to do this afternoon is, I'm not going to tell you all the qualifying rules. I'm going to say to you, if you want to get a check back from the United States Treasury, I call it the U.S. Treasury Bank, I want to get the money back, or I got the money back, and the IRS starts sending out letters, the IRS starts auditing more, they start doing projects on promoters over the next year, then I want you to be aware so you can get in the upper 90 percentile of did I qualify. So let's get to the story. And so here on a piece of paper, what I've done is I've drawn 3 doors, door 1, door 2, and door 3. And what the theory here is that in order to say to the IRS, I want you to send money to me because I qualified by opening one of these doors. Now, for a moment you say, well, Larry, I don't want to hear all the rules. I agree, let's not do that. What I want to do is real quick show you what the promoters, I believe, are misleading you, the small business. I believe the promoters, the more I know about them, when I hear a promoter says, 2 or 3 years ago, I'd never heard about ERC. Or when I would ask, I did a lot of secret shopping, I did a video on that, and I would say, what were you doing 3 years ago? Oh, I was selling cars. Or, oh, is this your first sales job you ever had? See, the promoters, for the most part, most of them, I am finding, are marketing companies. They're not a tax professional. But let's get, how are they doing this? How are they selling you the bill of goods? That's probably the best one. So let's go into it, and I don't want to be one of those 30-minute or hour videos that you like, let's get to the chase. Let's get to the chase. So what I want to do, door 1 is gross receipts test. Door number 2 is a qualified government shutdown. And door number 3 is a startup business. So what I've got to the point of in my office, if a person comes in and says, do I qualify? I take them back to a conference room with a big whiteboard, and I draw 3 doors. And my remark is, one of these doors have to be open for you to walk into the bank, that's through filing for the credit, and say, give me the money. I want the money. So what I want to do is, let's look at, you're walking into my office, I've got this, it's a yellow piece of paper, and I want to walk you through, did you qualify? And finally end up where the fraud is. So let's start with gross receipts. That one, I'm going to say here, math errors. When I review these, the most common thing I might find is a math error, but it's minor. So if I'm the IRS, they're probably going to say the math calculation in there because in our office, we calculated this every quarter as we went through the pandemic. And most tax professionals did it. Then I'm going to jump over door number 2 for a second, and I'm going to go to door number 3, the startup business. That kind of came late on the scene, and I'm going to write here, small dollars. All the many applications that I've reviewed, there is probably, and I'm going to do this, I don't know that I've seen maybe 1 or 2. So this is not where the fraud is, okay? Gross receipts, I'll just hold this up, but one of the people I just did last week, I went through, they pulled me the gross receipts by quarter for 19, 20, and 21. We did the simple test. They did not qualify. So I'm going to pretend that you didn't qualify, so I'm going to exit out. Let's get to the fraud. It's behind door number 2. Because, see, what happens is door number 2 has to be open to qualify. What does that mean? In order to open that door, what you have to do is to be under a qualified government shutdown order of, and this is the law, the operations, put that in parens, the operations of your trade or business. So for example, AGC, CPA, what are we in the business of? We do tax returns. So whenever the promoter goes to qualify me, they ask me all these different questions, check all apply, and we'll look at it in just a moment. But the first thing is, in order to get this possible money, it's from the day the shutdown started, and it stops the day it ends. So when you go to look back right now, if you're listening and you've looked at your quarters, if you got an ERC credit for 6 quarters, you probably don't qualify because the promoters just got your math calculations and they didn't check to see if you complied on door number 1, gross receipts. What they did is they only got your payroll. I've seen where the promoter said, we don't need your financial statements, all we need to know was you impacted financially by COVID. If you did, you automatically qualify. That's wrong. So I'm giving you some tidbits we go through. So again, here, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to change to green. I'm the promoter for a second. And see, to them, this is that beautiful cloud in the sky, and this is the gold mine for the promoter. Because typically, this is 20%, 25%, 30%. See, as a CPA, that's unethical. I'm a tax professional. I can lose my license at the state. I can be barred from doing tax returns. Oh, wait a minute. We're talking about tax returns here. We're talking about payroll tax returns, or we're talking about income tax returns. The promoters are mainly marketing companies. They're looking at 20, 25, 30%. They have an economic interest to say, you qualify. But the problem is, have you asked them why? Don't worry about it. So my thing here is, what I really want to put down here is, this is the fraud. Because think about it. If you have 10 employees, they're going to qualify you for all 6 quarters. They're going to get you $26,000 times 10 people. It's $260,000. Take 30% of that. I don't know, $80,000, $85,000. All they have to do, and what I'm seeing when I'm reviewing this, there is no documentation in a lot of these. Or else if there is, I got documentations on one of them, and the problem is the documentation was a cut and paste of another company. So they're just generating duplicates. Most of them, though, when I request the file, we just get the payroll reports. So why? Because they take the payroll for all these periods and start qualifying all the employees because they get a 20, 25, 30% commission. Remember, I got to charge you by the hour. my fees are going to be this size. How big is the gold mine for them? So here's what, so you're saying, well, wait a minute, Larry, I don't understand. This door, how's it open? Again, it's when the operations of your trade or business is financially impacted through a shutdown, partially or fully. What they did, and I did a video on this, is I want to talk about what's a qualified government order. It has to be of the trade or business. So in doing so, I went on one of the promoters came up with a list, and I did again a video on this, and they said, we have all of the government orders. So I can show you this because this was on a video. And so what I did is I clicked on the map of the state of Missouri. Here's all the government orders. As I did in the prior a video several months ago, I went through all the orders. Not one of them was about the trade or business. It didn't tell you that the operations of your trade or business was to be shut down. There's social distancing, there's face masking, calling out the National Guard, emergency operation plan, but again, I went through these 3 pages. This promoter, I believe, was giving you false government orders. So you got to know what the government order. It's if the operations of your trade or business was shut down partially or fully. Secondly, so that's how you get the door open. Well, what happens is now they'll say, oh, it's free money, everybody's getting it. So what they do is, I'm gonna put my hand over here. I hope the camera can see this. See, they don't open this door, they ignore this door. And what they do is they mask this door, and most of them just give you this checklist. So let's look. Disruption to your sales force ability to perform. I checked that when I was secret shopping, I'd qualify. Was unable to attend normal networking events like professional conferences that you would otherwise attend. See, they're not asking me about the government order. And if they do ask me, back here, they're not asking me what date it start and what date it stop. What they're doing is, think about it. Well, unable to attend a normal networking event like professional conference that you would have otherwise attended. I actually checked that on one of these because the list, as I've said before, looks a lot alike. I qualified. They didn't ask me if the government had shut the operations of my trade or business down. So attending social networking, what's that got to my operations, as I said earlier, is doing a tax return. What is your operations? What's your core? If that was not partially or fully shut down, you don't qualify. And if you did have that happen, it's again from the day it started to the day it stopped. If they didn't ask you that, you're filing a claim that the IRS could come back and say, send me the money back. I'm using common sense here, and I'm applying the law. And see, here's what happens. If during the government shutdown, you were shut down for a period and you didn't get PPP, then you have to apply a list like this to see impact. And the number one impact, what did it do you financially? This one I reviewed here, I referred to, they made more money in 20. They made more money in 2021. What was the financial impact? Inflation went up, prices went up. And the thing about it, they were essential. So again, just because this door number 2 to the Treasury is open, that doesn't mean you qualify. That means the door is open from that date that they start to stop. And during that period, you take lists like this, but mainly look at financial first to see what was the financial impact, because that's what we're in business of, is to make money. So how are you financially impacted? If it was negative, then you probably qualify. But again, only if you know that door's open. Of all the probably 175, 200 or more that I've reviewed, what I find out, most of them don't ask about an order. If they do ask about an order, they don't ask the order number, they don't ask the date it started and the date it stopped. And if I was the IRS, you know what I would do? I would say, show me your documentations, tell me which door you qualified under, and if you can't show them the qualifications, then you're going to have to pay it back. And that's wrong. That's the fraud. So, I hope this helps. I hope it makes a difference to you. But just one little, again, I hope you can tell. I don't know whether I'm upset, PO'd, whatever you want to call it, but I'm actually angered because I don't like to be laughed at by the promoters as your tax professional and doesn't know what they're doing. See, they're marketers and they're after this gold mine of 20, 25, 30%. See, they want you to qualify, and guess where they're going to be at when the IRS shows up at your door? It's a marketing company. It's a promotion. So again, I hope this helps. I'm going to be doing a YouTube in a little bit on the most common indicators of a promotion, and stay tuned for that. But again, I hope this helped. Stay tuned and see you on the next video.